Okay, good evening, one and all, and actually it's good afternoon and also good evening. Um, it's nice to meet you again in another session. We will be continuing with the topic, and we will be ending with some of one of foundation foundation equations for transmission lines. Not only for transmission line, it is for RF frequencies. Okay, for devices or devices or conductors. Okay, so till now we have gone through that the concepts behind lumped and distributed, some glimpses of what we have seen in the earlier class. So even some of you missed due to the placements or other reasons. So I just want to give 2-3 points no, for each class. I will try to give some glimpses or kind of review, short review kind. So we won't miss that, or we will keep remembering that important things basically. So here, just a moment, getting. So here, yeah. So what are the review till now? What we have seen in the no, first unit, in the high frequency, we are now dealing with the higher frequency bands and higher frequency signals. So higher frequency signals or bands is necessary since we are going for different mobile technologies, 2G, 3G, and many more. And so basically, higher frequencies, when we are dealing with that, what is the things you can encounter? Because if you see that different wireless standards, coming starting from WLAN or Bluetooth or all the technologies. One second, getting some surrounding background effects. Background effects. Okay, so basically, no, when you see that higher frequencies, um, you maybe different wireless technologies. Okay, uh, so different wireless technologies, you may have that no different frequency band. What you can commonly observe in a higher frequency bands, from starting from Bluetooth, WLAN, 3G, 4Gs, and terahertz. Okay, higher frequency bands. So it is unnecessary. It is sorry, it is not. It is necessary. The reason is we need to operate in higher bandwidth since higher frequency will give me that higher bandwidth, and different wireless standards. No, normally operates in very high frequency. The reason is one thing is bandwidth. Other thing is, can you tell in terms of antenna? If you can able to relate with the antennas, there is a radiating device which is front end for a transmission and reception for any wireless. Without antenna, there is no wireless. That is a no, there is a fact basically. Without antenna, there is no wireless. Whatever we do, wireless mouse or wireless whatever maybe display, we have that many houses we have now we kind of streaming devices like a Google Chromecast or many more is there, Amazon, also kind of Alexa, and different wireless device now. We are wants to go to wireless because we don't clutter the space with a lot of cables. Okay, we like to be wireless, so we get a mobility and a compactness. So it is pretty advantage. The wireless is advantage. Keep it. Everyone need to keep it in mind. Uh, the wireless means there is antenna. Okay, front end and receiver. There should be antenna. So that part, what is advantage will give in higher frequency for antennas? I'll give one, maybe it's too early to ask this question. Probably we can, when it goes to the antennas, we will be not dealing with those things. Antenna dimension supposed to be chosen such a way that it is related to the wavelength. Okay, is that, I may repeat that sentence. So when you choose that antenna dimension, especially antenna physical dimension or aperture area, as closely we will see that in antenna chapter what is aperture area and physical area, but actually the antenna dimension is supposed to be half of the wavelength, that is a maximum size, or it can be less than half of the wavelength. So it can be lambda by 4 antenna, it can be lambda by 8 antenna, lambda by 16 antenna, lambda by 20 antenna is possible, not lambda antenna, 2 lambda antenna, 3 lambda antenna, it won't work. The reason is, if it wants to antenna to radiate, so antenna, no, I'll just maybe probably I'll write it here itself. It's just a general info, and also we'll go to the derivations, and I just want to clarify some of the points here. So if you take any antennas, let us take some off-fade dipole or whatever routers, when you see that this another off won't be there, only this off will be there. So here my router box will be there. So nowadays I have 2 antennas, sometimes 3 antennas, 4 antennas, is a dipole antenna, whatever I have in the router. Okay, so mobile phones, I cannot see the antenna outside. Very long back, they have an antenna like a cordless phone. They have something like, there are also dipole antenna, kind of antennas coming out from the mobile device. Okay, so these are the kind of antenna is used for a transmission and reception. So when we have this kind of antenna, the physical dimension of the antenna, what we say the physical dimension is this. For example, you take another color. So this is my dimension. Okay, probably title and whatever I'm writing in the same color. Probably I'll take another color. Let us take something like maybe purple. Let it be. So here, this is my antenna dimension is L. So the antenna dimension L is supposed to be, or definitely should be chosen such a way that it is always less than or equals to lambda by 2. The reason is, when the frequency, certain frequency will have certain operating wavelength, that is lambda. What I will try to do it for antennas, I will try to make the antenna dimension is only lambda by 2 or less than that. Probably I'll keep it somewhere different color. This is my antenna dimension, lambda by 2, or sometime less than that. Maybe probably I will just choose another color. Probably my antenna can be lambda by 4. Okay. So why I have to do like that? Why I can't keep antenna till here or till lambda or go more than lambda? The reason is I want to excite the I don't want to allow the signal to complete it fully. Okay, what I will do is I will try to break it into half of it. Okay, so what happens if I choose the dipole antenna, for example, dipole antenna, this is a feed line, only the antenna is here. When I keep this antenna dimension only, for example, lambda by 4, another is lambda by 4, totally lambda by 2. So what happens, the change in instantaneous change in the current, what will happen, it won't complete it. Okay, I think to go back here. So here, maybe I'll choose this this color. So the current actually it won't complete because only this is lambda by 4, and this is only lambda by 2. This is full length. Okay, I don't allow the current to settle in my antenna conductor. So what happens, since I don't allow to settle, so another half will be completed on space. Okay, to the displacement current what we are observing in, across the capacitor, the same behavior will happen here. Okay, so another half or another half plus quarter, no, lambda by 4 plus lambda by 2. So this half I don't allow to settle in the conductor of the antenna. So it will start naturally, it will close in the outer space. So when it starts closing in outer space, it starts radiating on the as a displacement current. Okay, that displacement current is nothing but wireless. The antenna is radiating. Okay, so this displacement current we call as it will have electric field. Okay, that one direction and magnetic field in other directions. So whenever change in the electric field, the magnetic field will be induced. Whenever change in the magnetic field, electric field will be induced. So just such a way that my antenna start radiating it. So with that, aspect in mind. The length of the antenna is supposed to be very less than lambda by 2. Now you can answer that if my operating going on from lower frequency from 1 gigahertz, okay, all the way going to the 10 gigahertz higher frequency band. What is the advantage I will get? The advantage I will get the lambda, it start reducing it slowly. Lambda will start reducing. Okay, frequency whenever increases, lambda starting from here, actually it decreases. Correct? It is decreases. Okay, here lambda become very small. So whenever lambda become very small, I can choose the physical dimension of antenna very small. Okay, I can even print it in the mobile phones. That is advantage, huge advantage when I operate in higher frequency. Okay, when I operate in very high frequency, so uh, I will get advantage of the physical dimension is very small of the antenna, so I can easily put it fabricate in the chip, or I can keep it in a wireless router or any device. I can actually print the antennas. So mobile phone nowadays we don't see it outside the antenna, but it is actually printed on the PCB. So that is huge advantage when we go for a higher frequency. So coming back to transmission line. So basically, what are the important things in the transmission line is operating higher frequency. The same thing, the wavelength becomes very shorter. So whenever wavelength becomes very shorter, my impedance and voltage current is going to vary across the conductor. That is called lump element. Okay. So these band and frequency of band, we have seen that. These are the key people on electromagnetism. And so when frequency is very high, it becomes a distributed element. Okay, this we have seen that. So whenever the frequency is very high, the lambda become very small, voltage current varies across the conductors, and phase also changes is observed. We can observe the phase change. So this is called distributed elements in the transmission line. So the lumped element is nothing but normally the voltage current will be constant uh, through the conductor. On the elements it won't vary. That's the reason I will choose the dimension of the element very small, such a way that voltage current won't vary inside the device. Okay, inside the whatever circuit elements and using it, it should not change it. So if it is changing, it becomes very complex. You cannot model it. No software. Either we can take cadence, or we have that very industry standard tool in other department. We can use that. I think it is. I will just tell you the name probably. This is RF software. So any tool device cannot handle this distributed nature of the circuit element. It is very difficult to do it basically. So always the thumb rule is the lumped element, or circuit elements is designed using the lump concept. Okay, that is length is typically chosen such a way that I told in some of the class. Length is typically will be chosen as lambda by 10. Okay, very small compared to the wavelength. So the transit time effect will be neglected. So these are the key thing. And going to the transmission lines, and we model this distributed element of varying voltage and current into very smallest section. That smallest section, all the RLGC will be constant with respect to that section. So all the RLGC will be now called with respect to del Z. Okay, that is a section length. So is that clear? So now I've stopped with the last class with KCL and KVL equation, that is Kirchhoff voltage and current law. I think this is supposed to be, you can easily write down, or else I'll write down again. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So I'm using another screen, so I'll start writing it. Okay. So these are the key things before going for a derivation of problems for a microwave or higher frequencies. Okay, so probably I'll change to another screen. So here we started with the KCL and KVL, and this is a KCL and KVL. When we start with the KCL and KVL, And this is straightforward. You can write down as it is. Like first one is no, input voltage V of Z comma T, and drop across each element series element, that is R into I. No, the Ohm's law. Here R is not only R, it's R into del Z. This is L into del Z, and this is Z into del Z. This is C into del Z. Okay, this is serial element R into del Z. Excuse me. This is R into I. The I is I of Z comma. Okay, similarly, the drop across the inductor is L into dz, sorry, del Z, and dou I, that is a partial differential equation, dou no, I of Z comma T, okay, and dou T. Is that clear? So this is the voltage drop, which is again, this is equals to the output voltage V of Z plus del Z comma T. Okay, so here in this the slides, whatever I shown, they would bring these terms here, and sorry, they bring these terms to here. Okay, bring these terms to here, and these two terms brought it to the left side, other side. Okay, there is a negative sign. That what you have seen in the slide. Okay, this is V of Z plus del Z comma T minus V of Z comma T, which is equals to minus, because I brought it here, this R and L I brought it to other side, so it become a negative, minus R del Z I of Z comma T. This is minus L del Z dou I of Z comma T by dou T. Okay, so now what I have to do is uh, for example, I have to use some kind of intuitionally what I've done in the calculus. Okay, there is a change in the, no, you know that wherever the change in the variable with respect to the smaller difference, I think you have seen that how we write the dy or dy by dx. There's a change in the y with respect to x, smaller difference y of x or y of x plus del x. Okay, the small difference change in the variable we can equivalently write that is as a differentiation, right? So the same thing I can able to write it here. So this v of z plus del z and v of z comma t I can write as, okay, there's a change in smaller difference in the del z. When del z turns to very small, 0, so I can write this whole terms as d of, not d, this is dou of v z comma t by dou t. This is minus, and what I can do is I can divide by del z, okay, in the each both the left and right side. So when I differentiate del z and del z turns to 0, so it become a differentiation, and this becomes simply r into I of z comma t plus, sorry, minus L into dou of I comma z comma t and dou t. Okay, so here another assumption I'm going to make that is very typically one of the important assumption in the higher frequency. So this point is clear. So what I have done with this Kirchhoff voltage law, I have written voltage in one side and the lumped or the elements, circuit elements R and L in other other uh, side. And what I have done is I've made it all, everything is divided by del Z. And when I made it everything by del Z, when del Z turns to 0, the whole thing is nothing but partial differentiation of voltage with respect to, okay, with respect to, I think it is Z, not T. Okay, because there is change with respect to Z only, no? So this is the dou Z. Okay, so this is dou V Z, dou V Z comma T by dou Z, because there is a small difference between this V and this V, only del Z difference. So equivalently I can write that is a dou V by dou X or dou V by dou Z. Is that clear? So I'll repeat again. So when you take X and Y, so what is the dy by dx? What is the change of y with respect to x, right? That is nothing but a slope. This is change in the y, this is change in the x. This is change in the y and change in the x. Okay. So when this change, the section change is very small, del x. Okay. So when I take this y of, for example, this is, let us take x1, and this section is y of x1 plus del x. Whenever there is a section change, the difference in the y value with respect to x is very small. When I make this y of x plus del x minus y of x divided by del x, when del x turns to 0, when the difference becomes very small, I can write the continuum function of dy by dx. Okay, is this clear? This is the basic calculation whatever you have done before, the same thing. So whenever there is a y is changing smaller with a finite value with respect to the x, the whole term I can write as a differentiation, because the finite difference between y of x and y of x plus del x, and del x turns to 0, becomes very small at finite difference. I'm going to measure it. What is the change of value y? Here the change of value is z. Okay, so that is the reason I will take dou v by dou z. Why instead of differential ordinary I have taken a partial is because there are two dependent variables there. That is z and also time. Okay, that is the reason it become a dou v by dou z. Okay, so this I got it by taking v of z plus del z comma t, and this is v of z comma t divided by del z when del z turns to 0, dou v by dou z. Okay, so with that I have written this equations such a way that dou v by dou z, okay, that is dou v z comma t by dou z is nothing but minus r I of z comma t minus L, this is again dou I of z comma t by dou t. Okay, so now I am going to assume another important assumption, that is in the electromagnetics we call as, that is assumption of phasor form. Okay, so what is this phasor form? It's nothing but time harmonic signal. So what is this time harmonic signal? Why we have to take it for here? Basically, this time harmonic signal is nothing but, so in the electromagnetic signal we assume that signal is periodic, something like either it can be a sine or it can be a cos or it can be a cos or it can be clubbed together, that is e power or sine x plus j cos x. Sorry, I am telling reverse now. Cos x plus j sin x, right? Cos x plus j sin x, that is e power ix or I theta, here ix. Okay, so when I take any signal as a harmonics, I can equivalently write, explicitly write e power ix. Okay, so when I take any signal as a time harmonics, it is exponentially the Euler identity. It has a cos component, it also sine component. So anyone, I think you know how this e power ix signal will look like. It will look like a spherical. Okay, it will have both sine and cos component. So we would have seen that separately, cos x and sine x in the oscilloscope. When you add both, it become a total exponential, complex exponential signal. Okay, so that signal is a periodic signal because it's having a certain period, and also it is a complex, so it is having a cos and sine quantity. It's both are sinusoidal. So these, if I implicitly add this to the EM signal, it become a time harmonic signal. Okay, so what is this time harmonic is? It is having a certain periodic signal. What is the advantage? Why should I take this electromagnetic as a time harmonic? It is giving a huge advantage, such a way that I don't need to worry about the time component. So why should not worry about the time component if it is a periodic signal? So if I take a sine wave, if I know one period, I certainly know whole signal itself, correct? So if I know what is this t, time period, or 1 by t, that is f, okay? if I know that one clock period, or if I know that number of cycles, so I can easily find it. I can know extension of this. I can able to get it. So I no need to be each time mention the time component. So this is implicit. If I take a time harmonic signal, it is implicit that it is having a periodic signal. If I take as that as a reference, how I can write the Maxwell equations. I will show that slide. With that, you can understand. I will change to other screen to the to the Maxwell equations. That is pretty. You can get it. Okay, probably here. I'll go to the Maxwell equations. Okay, this is a thing. Whatever I try to tell that, probably here. Okay, so this is my Maxwell equations. So basically, if you take the time harmonics or phasor form, this is nothing but called as a phasor form. It's only applicable for a time harmonic signal. So when I take this time harmonic signal, there is a always complex exponential component will be there. Here, instead of e power jx, I have x is omega t because it have a certain frequency component with that. Okay, there is angular frequency to on omega t. So if I take any signal e power j omega t, implicitly that is a time harmonic signal. So if you go back to the Faraday's law, dou b by dou t, so if you take this dou by dou t of time harmonic signal, so if you do that first time derivation with respect to t, so what you will get, j omega is a constant, and you will get dou by dou t, sorry, what you get, e power j omega t is again j omega t, correct? So e power j omega t, what is the differentiation with respect to t? J omega is a constant, and again if you multiply e power jx, again e power jx, right? So what you will get here, and you will get again e power j omega t. Okay, you will get the same component. So this same component is nothing but the initial vector, as like earlier. If I take this as a, so I will get the same thing whatever it was before. Okay, so that is the reason, if any field component, if it is taking a magnetic field, this B is a magnetic flux. Basically, it's a magnetic flux density. If it is a field, so if it is a time harmonics, you can immediately, if you are differentiating with respect to t, so you can easily write this whole dou b by dou t as j omega, and with the same field component, vector component b bar. So one of the easier way to do this, if you wants to write the Maxwell equation in the phasor form, whenever by dou t is there, you just replace that component with the j omega. Okay, because when you differentiate the complex exponential e power j omega t with respect to t, you know that you will get again with the j omega and the same component. So j omega will be coming extra with the same the vector, the field, whatever you had earlier will be retained back. So it's easier way of doing the phasor or time harmonics form of the Maxwell equation is dou by dou t. You just write j omega and b. Again, this is the Faraday's law, and the Ampere's law is nothing but electric will produce the magnetic field. It is Ampere's law that is in the is there in the transformers basically. So the same principle here, dou by dou t, you just replace with the j omega. Okay, so you'll get a j omega d bar. And similarly, this is a Gauss law, and this is as it is. There is no phasor form for this because there is no dou by dou t component in that. Okay, so keep it in mind. Whenever there is dou by dou t, you can just replace with the j omega. So same analogy. So what I'm going to use that here is probably you can change the screen now. So if you have any doubt, put it in the chat. Maybe the first time it may look like Greeks and Latin, but it is can be easily understandable if the concept is able to grasp somewhat, even not fully clear. At least if you are able to understand why we are doing it, is all equations and problems are secondary. Okay, so if the concept is clear and everything will be fall into place. So no need to worry if you don't understand the first time. So everything can be you can easily follow up. So basically, I think you can see my screen. Probably stop sharing this, and I'm using other screen. Probably okay. So I think you can see my screen. I think you have seen my slide earlier. I'm not sure. Have you seen the slide? I moved to the slides. Now I'm seeing, showing my, other screen, that is a writable screen. Okay. So what I was telling is here, I'm going to assume the EM signal is time harmonic signal. So easier way to do the time harmonic signal. So kindly be with me for 5-10 minutes. So once it is clear, so everything will be okay. So what we have done is I've taken this lumped model of transmission line RLGC. So what I have done is simple KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law. So this is input current. Sorry, this is my okay. This is my input voltage. This is output voltage. The input voltage equals to the drop across the resistor plus drop across the inductor plus output voltage, which is equals to the input voltage. The simple KVL. Okay, I have not gone into KCL as of now. If the KVL is clear, KCL also will be clear. So the advantage of microwave derivation is there will be mostly two parts will be there. If one parts, if it is clear, secondary will be as same as the first part. So sometimes in the class session, sometimes it is easier. You can first part similarly you can write this. So it will be lesser time for the faculty also, instead of doing the same method to solve it. That's like a similar first part, the second part also the same. So that is advantage. So till now I was in the KVL. So KVL is the same thing. I've written the input voltage. This is my output voltage, and this is all the drop across the resistor and the inductor. Okay. So I've rearranged this thing, and what I've done is next step is wherever there is, I've divided by del Z. So whenever there's change in the voltage with respect to time with a smaller distance, what is Z and plus del Z and V of Z is nothing but the in the section what is the voltage difference. I'm going to assume that the section is becomes smaller and smaller, because very small to the zero. So that time it become a partial differential equation. It become a differential calculus. Okay. So I've written this voltage as a differential of voltage with respect to the Z, with respect to the transmission line length, that is Z, and which is equals to the same, the right side as it is same. And another important thing assumption I have done is this is a time harmonic signal. So if it is a time harmonic signal, so what is the advantage? I can replace this dou by dou t as a j omega. Okay, so that exactly I'm going to do. When I do this, what happens? I'll write it here itself. Okay, I'll write it here. So it will become, just correct me if it is any mistake. Okay, or if it is sorry, this should be a j omega, right? This should be j omega n. Okay, so why it becomes this is fine. Why this become a partial to the ordinary? Okay, because the time component I'm taking is here is a e power j omega t partial. No, I'm just ignoring the time component by assuming this time harmonic signal. So I can just now this whole equation becomes only with respect to z. Okay, so there's a time component. I'm just safely ignoring it because it is a time harmonics, because it's changing with the time. It is not changing with the distance. Okay, if you take the e power j omega t, this is changing with respect to time. It is periodic with respect to time, not with respect to the distance, as far as the general rule concerned. So I can write this dou v by dou z as a dv by dz. Okay, so this is one of the advantage, and this is right hand side. I can just simply ignore this z component. okay, because it's a time harmonic signal. So this is called the phasor form of telegraph equations. Okay, so this can be further written as minus, you can take it outside, and I of z also you can take it outside. So it can be minus r plus j omega L into I of z. So similarly, this is what I told the advantage. If you apply the KCL, so you'll get d I of z by dz. You can same way you can write. What is that? This is a minus g plus j omega c into v of z. I think as like a reverse. That's it. Okay. Is it making sense? So the same thing I've written here in the slide. Probably you can see that in the earlier equations. Okay, the same thing I've written here. So is that clear? R plus j omega L into I of z and g plus j omega c into v of z. In the textbook also you might have got the similar thing. And I think for this chapters, no, this units you can refer in the textbook Boser. That is, I think, in the second chapter. Okay, that's the first reference book. You can understand what is this equation it is. So is this clear? So this is called telegraph equations. So this is actually came no, long back, 1894. You can see that here. 1894, first telegraph equations. They laid the cable from North America to the Europe, to the undersea cable, and they found that these telegraph governing equations is playing important roles when they're sending a voltage and current across these two undersea cables. Okay, even they tried with a very good quality cables, they could not able to exactly identify earlier. They then find out that this is what happening inside the cable. Okay, so here can I further simplify this? Okay, you can see that there is a partial differential equations that can be written as ordinary differential equation. Okay, the reason is only one dependent variable is there. There is a mistake in this slide. Okay, so basically this can be written as ordinary differential equation. So can I further simple down this equation? I want what I want. I need volt of v of z, and I want I of z. So I have to find out this quantity from this equation. Okay, why I need this? I should know if I have a transmission line cable. For example, this is my North America, USA. This is maybe probably the UK. Okay, they are sending some kind of voltage. Let us take 5 voltage, 1 amps. Okay, so or when they convert into power, V into I, 5 watts of power they are sending. Okay, if it is a peak to peak or relatively 5 watts of power they are sending. So they wants to know from, for example, here after this, let us take from UK they are sending to USA. So this is exactly 0 meter or 0 kilometer. After that 1000 kilometer or 500 kilometers, what is going to happen to my voltage and current? Okay, so that I can get it from this. What is V of Z? What is Z here? Z is this, the distance of the cable. Okay, the physical distance of the cable. So Z here it is 0 and Z equals to 500 kilometer. So what is my voltage? So how I can return this? V of 500 kilometer. So what is my voltage? I can easily find out if I know the solution for this. Now it is not straightforward. V of Z is not, how to find out V of Z, that I have to know I of Z. For I of Z, if you want to know, I should know this, I of Z dz. Then I have to do the integration. If I want I of Z from the second equation, what I have to do? I have to do integration, the differentiation. I have to bring it. If it become an integration, it become a complex, it's not solvable. So the idea is I want to find out V of Z and I of Z. If I able to do it, then the first topic is done of this unit. Okay, this important derivations, it's a must question in the exam. That what I can say. This is very foundation equations, very must for exam. How to find V of Z and I of Z. Okay, can you do this? Can you think about different way of doing it? This is, after this is purely mathematical simplification. So nothing more of conceptual things necessary here. It's purely mathematical simplifications. So one other thing maybe quickly came into your mind. I guess what it may be. You think that this is a D, not do. There is a mistake. Okay, this is a D. Partial differentiation little bit complex. I think you know that because it depends on two variables. Okay, here one depends on only one variable, that is Z, the distance. So what immediately came into your mind? What I can do? Okay, let us do that again one more time derivation. Okay, the first equation d square. I'm just guessing that what probably the thought flow can come after this seeing this equation. I know what is the destination, what I wants to get it, that is b of z and I of z. So how to get it from this telegraph equation? I told already to get a telegraph equations, what we have done, we have written the lump model section of the transmission line, R of Z, L Z, G Z and C Z, and I've simply applied the KVL law. This is supposed to be very straightforward, should not be any problem for you, it should be very straightforward. So once I've written this, I've divided by del Z, and this whole component becomes dou V by dou Z, dou V Z comma T by dou Z. Okay, this become Z will not be there because I divided it, this not be there. So this Z comma T I have assumed from the concept, I have assumed this is a time harmonic signal. So dou by dou T I have written j omega. Okay, this time harmonic or phase component or phasor form, it is even there for a Maxwell equation also. It is not only exclusively for transmission line. There are one subject is there in MTech, the time harmonics electromagnetic or time harmonics electromagnetic computation. Okay, most probably I think there is a title. So the subject, the course name itself, time harmonics. Okay, so this is not exclusively for transmission line, it is exclusively for electromagnetic signal. So whatever may be the antenna or maybe any analysis or electromagnetic computations, whatever may be. So the time harmonics phasor form means itself dou by dou t you can replace with a j omega. This is the second concept after Kirchhoff voltage law. Apply this time harmonics concept. Okay, means that replace dou by dou t with j omega. Then these partial differential equation become ordinary. Okay, till now I think supposed to be clear. We applied three things in the original this lumped model. Okay, we got this equation. This is called telegraph equations. Now going further, I should know what is b of z and I of z. So one way is I am telling this probably whatever maybe came into your in a general mind. So I differentiate in two times, d square b of z by d z square, and what I'm going to do, this is a constant, I'm going to write as it is. Okay, and I of z is d I of z by dz. Okay, can I substitute these second equations to first? Okay, if I substitute that, what I will get? Okay, that's what I'm going to do it. Okay, all of you with me. This is something one of the steps should be no, should be done to get V of Z and I of Z. Okay. I think if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I'm just seeing a chat. If there is any questions or anything, if you wants to ask or disconnection or something like that, you put it in the chat. Are not audible or any issues, I'll try to see it in the chat. And let us go into other steps. Let us go, all of you with me. Can we go into next step? All are passive or active listening? So what I'm going to do is here. Okay, fine. So I'm going to change it on the other screen, and I hope it is clear to you. Some point you may need to write down and have to do it. because sometimes it may look understandable when you write it. It may no, looks different. So, however, you just write the equations if you want to know. If you get if you may get if any doubts, you can also ask me. Okay. So here the telegraph equation is this. So what I've done, I've taken the first telegraph equations and done one more time differentiation. Okay, this again, this is a constant r plus j omega l, and this become yeah, di of z by dz. So what I've done is I'm going to substitute this di of z by dz from the second equation. So this is nothing but d square v of z by dz square minus r plus j omega l, and this is nothing but become a minus g plus j omega c, and this become dv of z by dz. Okay, is that clear? This is from the second equation. Okay, minus g plus j omega c into, I think not, I think there is a mistake. It's supposed to be as it is, no? It's supposed to be v of z. Okay. Okay, I substituted the second equation as it is to the first one. Fine. So now this minus minus become positive. So this is r plus j omega l. This is g plus j omega c, and v of z is equals to d square v of z by dz square. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to assume this, or I'm going to assign this to one constant. Okay, that constant is called, keep it in mind, I'm repeating again, this is called gamma, that is propagation constant. That is r plus j omega l and g plus j omega c. This is propagation constant square. Okay, y square will no, will come to know basically why it is square. I'll just tell you why it is square. Okay, so I'm assuming this constant, some constant square. Okay, so these equations can be rewritten as d square v of z by dz square, and this become minus gamma square. I'm going to bring it to the left side, and v of z equals to 0. Okay, so what could be the solution for second order equation for this form? So there are two possible solutions. Okay, either v of z can be, so what is the solution means I should know what is a v of z. That is the solution, what I want, that is what I'm looking for basically. So what is the solution of v of z here? It can be two solutions. Let us take one solution is, okay, e power j, not j, it is gamma z. Okay, and with a constant. Let us take the constant as, I'm taking some strange constant. I'll tell you why it is v plus. Okay, so how I can say this is one of the solution for these equations? So let us do that, no, do that reversely and see that whether this is a solution for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, two time you differentiate this. So what you will get, again this is a constant, right? v plus is a constant, and this is a gamma, e power gamma z. First time if you differentiate, it become a gamma into e power gamma z. Second time if you differentiate, become e power gamma square, and this is e power gamma z. Okay, so what does that mean? E power gamma is nothing but what? V of z, right? So this is nothing but what? V of z. So this can be written as d square v of z dz square, and v plus e power gamma z become v of z. So this is a gamma square v of z. So you can bring it to the left side. This is equal to 0. So if any equation in this form, second order equations minus some constant square of that solution of that equation. If it is 0, if it is in this form, I can write in two possible answer. It can be e power gamma z is one of the solution, or e power minus gamma z can be also one of the solution. Okay, I just want you to closely pay attention. The solution for this can be twofold. It can be e power gamma z or e power minus gamma z. So I think this is called wave equation in general. Okay, this is called wave equation in general. So the solution for this second order derivation is nothing but the v of z can be some constant. Why I am taking a constant? Because there is a reason. I have to apply some boundary condition, because I think if you remember, I think in differential calculus, I think if you take a sine, okay, what is the differentiation of sine? It is sine x is a cos x, right? Okay, probably cos x is like that. This is a sine 0. Okay, cos is something like this, cos x, sin x. When differentiate it, you will get a cos x. But it can be a start with 0, or it can be starting with the offset of 2 sin x. 2 sin x also is the same, correct? 2 sin x, what is the differentiation? It's the 2 cos x. So it can be applicable for any constant. Okay, there is differentiation when you wants to find out the absolute solution. Sin x is cos x, 2 sin x equal to 2 cos x. So that also correct. So that is the reason when you write the solution for any differential equations, we will write the complete form with including a constant. Okay, so here, so this is one of the solution, e power gamma z. Another solution is v minus e power, this is plus means I'll put it negative here. When it's negative, I'll put the positive here. Okay, this is the one solution, this is two solution of this given differential equation. If you have any doubt why it is a solution for this, you just substitute to take 2-time derivation of this and substitute that, you will get this equation. Okay, these are two solution for given second order equation. Okay, so here in that case, what is a complete solution? I can write superposition of these two. So the complete solution is v of z x v plus e power minus gamma z and v minus e power plus gamma z. So this is a solution of transmission line, that is for a voltage. Okay, for similarly you can write it for a current. So that's what I told. Always there is a equivalent part. If you understand one part, other part will be straightforward. Okay, so for a current, what I will do, I'll keep that second equation of telegraph equation. What are the second equation of telegraph equation? So these are two telegraph equation, dvz by dz minus r plus j omega l into I of z, and this is di of z by dz and minus g plus j omega c into v of z. Okay, so this is 1 and 2 is telegraph equations. What I will do now, I am going to do the second order derivation, differentiation. Okay, differentiation of 2 with respect to z. Okay, so d square I of z by dz square, and similarly this is become g plus j omega c is a constant, can be written as it is. This can be written as dv z by dz. So these I can substitute the first equations, then I'll get the same r plus j minus is outside omega l into I of z. So same equation can be the same form. It's like a mirror of the first one. Okay, so this whole thing can be written as gamma square and I of z. So now why I have written gamma square, you can understand, because when we take a solution, then I will get the solution in terms of e power gamma or minus gamma. That is the reason I have taken this whole constant as a gamma square. Okay, so what is the general form of that solution is d square by dx square. Probably this is you can see it in the differential calculus, k square into y. If it is 0, okay, this one of the solution is y equals to for example e power k I think k square, second, yeah, e power k x and e power minus kx, sorry, not minus, just a kx, okay, e power minus kx. This is a solution basically, and there is a constant a and b, okay. This is a solution for this kind of format in general, okay. So either way, both voltage and current will have a same pattern, okay. So what is the solution for I of z? The same way, I of z is a superposition of 2, that is e power minus comma z. Here I'll put a peculiar constant, I'll tell you why it is I plus. This can be anything. I could have written b into e power also. I could have written c or d. Some constant, but some constant I'm making some, for a given contest, I'm writing I plus. I'll tell you why it is. I'm using these peculiar names. Okay. So I plus e power comma z and I minus e power plus comma z. So this is the solution of the current, and solution of voltage is V plus e power minus comma z and V minus e power plus comma z. Okay, so it looks simple, straightforward. Okay, this is actually the solution for transmission line. This is a simple solution for transmission line equation. So starting from lumped element RLGC. Okay, when you take particular voltage Z comma T and output voltage Z plus del Z T, and current I of Z comma T, and current is I of Z plus del Z T. This is a lumped model. This is R L G C in more accurate del Z del Z del Z del Z. Okay, so when you have this kind of lumped model for transmission line, so what is the voltage at any point of transmission line can be written as voltage, and current can be written as with this respect to this. Okay, so to know that any point of the voltage and current, what the things I supposed to know, I should know what is a gamma. Okay, I should know what is a gamma, and also I should know what is the distance. That again it will be given in the problem. After 500 km from UK to on the way to the America, so what is the distance? So Z is known. Gamma is a constant. If I know RLGC, or if I know these quantities, if I know R, if I know L, if I know G, if I know C, I can find, if I know the omega can be found if I know the frequency. So if I know this, I can find out the gamma. So this is known, this can be known, and but what about this? How to get this value? Okay, but we will see it with a given boundary conditions. So for a given boundary conditions with a load, how much load we are connecting it, we can calculate these quantities. That what we are going to do in the next class. Okay, so is that clear now? So we started with the telegraph, we achieved it, we derived the telegraph equations from Kirchhoff voltage and current law. And before going for a telegraph, we assume the two conditions. One is it is time harmonic signal. Other thing is I'm going to convert this the change in the voltage or change in the current with respect to small section of del Z as a partial differential equation with respect to two variable Z comma t. But after that, two dependent variable, I made it to one dependent variable by making assumption of it is a time harmonic signal. So that the dou by dou t, I can write it in the phasor form of j omega. So the whole volt, telegraph equation becomes, the phasor form becomes j omega L and j omega C. So with that voltage and current, I've differentiated it again, and I got two solution for second order equations, that is V plus, V minus, I plus and I minus. So this is exactly the general solution for given transmission line. For a specific solution for a boundary condition, we'll get the constant, unknown constant. With that, we can find out the complete solution of voltage and current. Okay. So this is the actually the content, the transmission line. Okay. I hope some point of thing is clear. Some point is yet to be clear. But I think if you see one or two times the equations, it will be more clear. And concept, as I told and many times, the concept plays a key role. That's why I've taken some more time for making the concept is forefront, then solving or deriving the equations or doing the problem. Okay. So with that, we'll stop for this session. I hope, thank you for your patience and listening. And I hope it made some useful in this session. And see you then, and take care. Bye. Bye for now.